we're live. Everyone heard me say the amazing freaking stuff Indigo's doing. Wonderful. So, hey everybody, welcome back to the Printerverse. I am thrilled to death to introduce Boris Hughes. You have some big title, but basically he's a cool creative guy who works with cool creative brands, and they create cool creative print on HP Indigo technology. So I'm just going to turn it over to him because I've basically been looking forward to this for a month, and I'm just going to sit down and watch. So thank you so much.
Excellent. Thanks, Deb. So what I wanted to do today was really run through some really cool applications from around the world that we see our customers doing for various brands, and explain why they did them and how they came about. And some of these are really, really cool, and the idea is to get you guys thinking. Right, so one of the first applications I want to show here is a megaphone. This was done on the Indigo 10,000. Obviously, it's a very large sheet that's rolled up. This was done for a company, a Chinese company called Huawei. If any of you have ever heard of Huawei, it's a little unusual because they're not big in the US, but they are big in the rest of the world. They're like a Chinese Cisco. So they do routers and switches and all that sort of stuff. But when you look at their name, and I don't know if you can see this, it's very difficult to pronounce. No one could figure out how to pronounce this. So they were trying to figure out a way to get exposure and create name recognition. So in London every year there's a big triathlon that's held that involves CEOs and IT executives from companies. And so working with their marketing company and working with their printer in the UK, they came up with this idea. It's tied together with a social media piece, and obviously people were yelling through the megaphone and cheering. And if you actually go out and search this, you'll find photos of people all on the route holding these up. Right? And obviously on it you can see it says Huawei. You now know how to pronounce it. It made people actually go to the web and figure out who it is and what they did and all that sort of stuff. So it's a really cool use. Now, I've shown this to a number of companies in the US. And just about every education organization has said, can I get those for Friday Night Football? Can I get those for Saturday games? That's fantastic. I can put the local insurance company, local bank on this. We can do a joint sponsorship. This is a great way to create an interactive piece with the customers. And it's really simple. And they are truly one use, because if I try to take this apart, it will disintegrate. So that's a really interesting piece out of the UK. I want to switch now to something really different. So hopefully everyone here knows who Martha Stewart is, right? Very, very high-end fashion lady involved in lots of fashion and creative stuff. So Martha Stewart Living does this American Made Awards every year. And last year they had Sandy Alexander print these awards catalogs for the event. Now, the story goes that the gal from Martha Stewart Living was coming out to Sandy Alexander to do a press proof. And they handed her one of these. And her response was something along the lines of, oh my God, I can't believe you've printed them already. We haven't proofed them. No, it's one. Well, how did you do that? Right? So think about the organization, think about the creative types, and the fact that she had no idea that you could produce one. So the story goes on from there. They did some corrections. They printed a proof. She took it back to the office. And the story is something like she sat down with Martha and explained what was possible in this technology. Well, Martha Stewart shows up the next day. Show me this printer. What is it? How does it work? Why is it doing this? And then she went on at the American Made Awards to talk about the Indigo 10,000 for about 15 minutes. So the note out of this is, if you've got creatives at the level of Martha Stewart and her people, and she only hires the best, who have no idea what's possible with digital technology, then we need to make sure that we educate. Right? We need to make sure people are aware of the power of digital. The next one I want to talk about came out of the UK. And I was trying to get my daughters one of these to borrow, and I was told I wasn't allowed to bring it because she was afraid I wouldn't bring it back. This is a really fun way to use variable data. Right? So this is a story about a little girl or a little boy who lost their name. And they have to go through and meet with all these creatures and animals to get their name back. Now, these things are not cheap. They're like $25 a book. You can go online and do them for your kids. And kids love them. They will read them. This is really interactive and really fun. But this is a very creative way to use variable data that's fun. Right? This is fun. Variable data a lot of times isn't fun. It's transaction-based, or it's your billing statement, or it's a marketing piece asking you to do something. This is variable data in a fun way. Really kind of cool. So I'm going to switch from there to a shoe. All right, so one of our customers in Turkey was trying to create a marketing tool. Now, I'm not sitting there saying that you're going to go produce shoes on an HP Indigo press. But they used transfer paper and they created a shoe. They used one of our wide format devices and they produced the boxes that the shoe goes in. Now, they shipped to their customer one shoe in the box with a note saying, meet with me and I'll give you the other shoe. Well, let me show you how the other shoe drops. A great way to actually think about marketing yourselves and think beyond the flat sheet. Right? A lot of us and a lot of our customers get involved in just thinking about a flat sheet. These guys went beyond this. And actually, ironically, a good friend of mine owned one of the original E1000 Indigos, and he had produced some T-shirts on it using the Indigo ink. Now, I'm not telling you it's an easy process to do transfer, but that T-shirt was over 20 years old. It was moth-eaten and looked horrible, but the ink looked spotless. So the ink actually works really, really well. So another market that has really taken off is the personalized, for better word, mummy market, where it's wrapping paper, daytimers, all that sort of stuff. So what I have here is personalized wrapping paper. Right? So a lot of personalized wrapping paper along with the cards and everything else that comes out of it. There's a bunch of different examples here. You know, I love Mom, Merry Christmas, and then just Isabel as a wrapping paper piece, right? This is a creative way to create a personalized gift beyond just what's in the box and what was selected. This is actually a very rapidly growing market. Companies like Minted, Snapfish are doing a lot of this stuff out there, and this is a great way to take it beyond. So, you know, potentially there's a way for companies to take this now, and if they're doing holiday gifts or if they're delivering pieces to customers, to be able to create personalized wrapping. Right? Think about the message. Think about trying to create something that relates, and this is a way to do it. And obviously the 10,000 gives you a sheet that's big enough to be able to do that. So switching back to marketing pieces. This is a piece out of the UK for a soccer club. Right? Pretty boring on the outside, nothing too sexy. But when you open it, and this is variable data, when you open it on the inside, there's a poster. Obviously has the person out looking over the stadium with their name, and the name changes. And the name changes down the bottom as well. These are framed and in houses across the UK. Football fans are rabid. Like Packer fans were pretty happy here yesterday. If you sent this to a Packer fan, they'd be pretty happy. But what's really cool is on the back, they've got season ticket offers, they've got credit card offers. So they've created a sticky piece, right? Most of the stuff that gets sent out gets thrown away really quickly. This piece actually is still in some people's houses. So think about what you could do with this even for the high school football team, right? Think about what you could do for a performing arts center. Right? There's all sorts of applications for this. Right? The size is one thing, but it's really what it does and how it stays in people's hands and they think about it. The next piece I want to show is canvas. One of the challenges with digital devices is the ink by nature of them is quite thick, and it makes the substrate underneath disappear. Indigo is very different. Indigo ink is like olive oil. It's translucent, right? It blends in with the paper. So it enables us to do canvases and have the actual texture of the canvas come through, and it also doesn't crack, right? So this is one of the things that we see with creatives a lot, and one of the reasons why they like the Indigo technology is the ability to be able to use really funky substrates, right? Whether it's papers or cottons or plastics or canvases, and have that material show through. Right, so when you get to the very creative end, these guys are spending a lot of time looking at and picking out exactly the right substrate. So why are you going to go cover it up with peanut butter when you can cover it with olive oil and let it show through? There was one example I desperately wanted to bring, but it got stolen this morning. It's a foil example. So it was an invitation done by one of our customers out in San Francisco on a foilized paper. And what they had done is they'd created this psychedelic look. So again, with Indigo, because of the way the ink's translucent, if I want red foil, I put red ink down and it becomes red foil. If I want to block it, I put white ink down and then the foil disappears. This piece is really, really cool that was designed, but unfortunately it got stolen before I could bring it. Okay, this is out of Turkey. This is out of Turkey. So this is a group, a printer of ours in Turkey, who produces materials for ASICs, right? Running shoes that go out to sporting goods stores. The way that shoes are sold in Europe is through resellers. So they were trying to differentiate. So they had asked for the A4 catalog, this one. The printer produced that, and they also dropped on the table the B2 size catalog. I said, what do you think? Guess which one they went for? They really like the B2 catalog because it stands out, right? So if I'm competing against Under Armour, Nike, and everyone else, and I'm little ASICs, which, they didn't used to be that small, but they're a lot smaller now against those giants, this helps them stand out, right? We saw Ford do this with their catalogs as well. They were able to do a bigger trifold using the format of the 10,000 to stand out on the shelves. So everyone in here has a business card, I'm assuming, right? It's the most common marketing tool that any company has. Now, how many of you have been handed a business card and you scanned it with your iPhone and threw it away? Or you put it in a drawer and you never see it again, right? Common problem. So we're all in the communications business, and we all need to be using what we sell and what we create in better ways. Here's something that my friends at Nina Packaging created. It's a three-dimensional business card. This is going to sit on someone's desk for a lot longer than a flat, white, boring business card, mine included. So this is a great way. So this is obviously done on a dark substrate with white ink. Think about dropping these off at Christmas with Hershey Kisses in it or whatever, right? You can have a lot of fun with this. Another example I've seen done was a wooden coaster, right? Created a wooden coaster on the Indigo, right? Printed on the wood, laminated it onto another piece of material, and that sat on someone's desk now with a coffee cup on it. Great way to get your name out there, regardless of what company, what product you're selling. It's all about creating desk life. And a flat white business card does not create desk life. It's gone in seconds. I know I'm really bad with it. This is a really cool company out of the UK, and this is a great application that's a hybrid print production application, right? So one of the things that we strongly believe is that offset is not dead. Traditional manufacturing is not dead, and this is a great application that shows this. This is a digital cover on a static offset guts. So what did Bowden do? So Bowden is a clothing retailer for both women and children, and they wanted to create an interactive catalog that had stickiness. So they had a designer come and create these properties, these artifacts, on a web interface, and kids could go out and design their own cover. Right? So they designed the cover. The cover was then sent to the family. You are not going to throw away your kids' artwork. So this became a phenomenally sticky catalog for Bowden. This is the second or third catalog they've done now, doing the same model where they put a variable data cover on static. Right? So they're able to use both technologies, using the right technology for the right job, and drive a result. And this was phenomenal. So Moleskin, right? Everyone here at some point has had a Moleskin notebook or catalog or whatever, right? So Moleskin was having a challenge trying to interact with younger kids, right? Getting to the younger generation. So working with one of the printers, they designed this piece. It's a little bit risque in some areas, but the kids actually designed and created this. Now, I gave one of these as a test to my 16-year-old daughter. 2 days later, hey, you got any more? All my friends want them. So this is creating relevance, right? Moleskin realized that it was an older generation that was using Moleskin notebooks. So how do we get the younger kids involved? How do we get them to do it? So it's white on the back for taking notes, and then there's some interactive or engaging images on the front. And then you need a degree in engineering to fold it back up. So this is just thinking about ways to create relevance and ways to engage with different audiences. One of the last pieces I want to show here is a gift box. Right, so this is using multiple HP technologies here. We've got our wide format producing the box. And inside the box is a spoon. We don't have a 3D printer out yet, so we haven't managed to produce that yet. But everything else in here. And there's a cookbook. And then inside is an apron. Right, so traditionally, this is a nightmare in a supply chain. I have to get the box from someone, I have to get the book from someone, I get the spoon, the apron, everything together. So this organization out of Philadelphia or Pennsylvania was able to produce the box and the book on their HP devices using the white ink to make it stand out, and then just put the tissue paper and the spoon in, and it was a huge value add. For the customer, it was one person to call, right? One throat to choke, so it made life easier. So the last piece I want to show, and I apologize, it got smushed this morning. Mohawk Paper, another paper manufacturer, does these pre-die cut boxes. So one of our customers, GLS up in Minneapolis, had done a series of these boxes along with wine bottles as gifts to their customers at Christmas for the holiday season. So they personalized the box. They personalized the label on the wine bottle and delivered these to their customers at Christmas time. Fantastic way to get creatives and marketing folks to see the power of what you can do. Right? So this is just, a sample of some of the stuff that's been done on Indigo around the world. The key thing is enabling people to be able to solve issues for their customer's customer, right? Looking at driving different outcomes. When we look at the megaphone back here, the goal was to make people aware of a company that no one can pronounce and help them pronounce it, right? So how do you do that? And that's where looking at these technologies and what they can do and how they can help is key as you look at them. Thank you.